Hello and welcome back, especially to those of you who are also on Team No Sleep. A lot of interesting energy going on, especially with Chiron recently going direct. It's still in Aries, so it's now direct in Aries and joining Mars fully direct in Aries. So there's a big kick going on. In any case, this is going to be a short video responding to a question asked by one of you wonderful subscribers about how can you tell if you are the divine feminine or divine masculine, especially because it's not actually gender specific. They are simply two energies that exist in this world, and so regardless of whether you follow the gender binary or are outside of it or any number of things, you could be divine masculine or divine feminine. Um, I want to say I did do a way earlier video about this when I first started doing videos. You might find it worth checking out. You might not. I think some of my opinions about it have evolved and changed a little bit, but it's still kind of the same. And what I'm going to say first and foremost is that if you're in question about whether or not you're divine feminine or masculine, then what that is really showing on its own is simply that you haven't decided. Because a lot of it has to do with choice in your dynamics, and a lot of it also has to do with what reality do you want to manifest. The other part of it is getting to a place where you trust yourself, because what I know of my own journey and others going through this journey is that when you are in a place of still learning to trust yourself and have faith in yourself is when you most often question, am I divine masculine? Am I divine feminine? Am I the karmic? And much of like what I say in videos about are you the karmic, it's the answer is also that you are all of those things. Everyone is all of those things. You could be divine feminine and be exhibiting divine masculine energies. You could be divine masculine and be exhibiting karmic energies. You could be karmic and exhibiting both energies. It depends on the energy you're in and where you are on your healing path. Now, what I'm going to say is that if you are listening to readings or channelings and you feel like you are called more towards the feminine or the masculine or the karmic, then for that specific reading, that is what's resonating with you and that's what you go with. The other thing I'm going to say is that it's what I've noticed, especially with twin flames, is that we are tasked with finding a balance between our energies. The other thing that I've noticed is that typically, and this is kind of a funny way, I don't know, a funny way to look at it. It's kind of an interesting experience to notice happening consistently. And what it is that most often divine feminines start out in toxic masculine energy. And they are typically tomboys, or they could be very feminine, but they exhibit very masculine energies, which is taking action, being controlling, being domineering, feeling like issues with control, like you need to control things, you need to make sure that they're going a certain way, you need to make sure that they're like you feel like the world will fall apart if you're not prodding people along or giving them your opinion or feedback or correcting things, stuff like that. That's very masculine energy. You can look into the meaning of the Emperor card also, which can help you kind of understand, like, okay, am I in masculine energy? Also, typically, masculine energy should be, you want to get away from the runner chaser dynamic, but usually masculine energy is the chaser energy, is the pursuit energy. Feminine energy, on the other hand, which interestingly enough, most divine masculines start out in toxic feminine energy. And in feminine energy, like in healthy feminine energy, what you're looking at is receptivity, allowing of things, nurturing energy. It's not doormat energy. It's not like allowing anything to happen sort of thing, but it's more about you don't feel the need to run or chase. Actually, now that I think about it, healthy masculine energy also doesn't need to run or chase, but typically toxic feminine energy is the runner. And it can include things like being gossipy and wanting others to take charge, or kind of a passive aggressive sort of energy. Toxic masculine energy is typically just straight up aggressive. And then when you start to heal the side that you start on, whether that's masculine, I mean, I'm not going to say it's not necessarily toxic, but unevolved masculine energy or unevolved feminine energy, then you start to find that you lean more towards the other way. And if you've been in unevolved masculine energy as a feminine, you might start leaning more towards feminine energies. You might start finding that you had all sorts of like childhood wounds that had to do with femininity. And as you start to heal, you start to get more in touch with that. And then you find a balance between that more masculine energy that you have been living out. You may not have even noticed it until you get onto a healing path. And then you start to find yourself more comfortable in that receptive, nurturing, kind of motherly feminine energy. And likewise, if you started out in more unevolved feminine energy, you might find yourself going from being like a runner, or being deceptive, being there's just so many things about it. Being a victim, that's typically in the unevolved and toxic feminine side of things, acting like a victim, or a martyr, or feeling like everything's put upon you, things like that. And then, or even if it was just simply unevolved, like feeling small, being a doormat, being codependent, things like that. And then you might find that you had challenges growing up that wounded your masculine energy. And as you get into balance with your masculine energy, you might find yourself more assertive as opposed to like domineering. You might find that you are more stable in your emotional energy, like you know when to speak up and when to stay quiet. And when you're staying quiet, it's never about a fearfulness about what other people might think. It's more about allowing others to do what they need to. But it's also, I mean, it is to a degree a protector energy, but it's not like possessive energy either. And I think when I get back to it, it still really comes down to, what do you feel like in your heart that you are? Are you divine feminine? Are you divine masculine? And you do have choice in it. We all have free will. You can be in the divine feminine energy, or you can be in the divine masculine energy. I wouldn't base what I wouldn't base your energy on readings alone. There are going to be lots of times that readers, especially when they're reading for the collective, are going to be picking up mixed energy. And when you're watching readings, there's going to be times when you feel called to you hear things happening and described as what you're doing, but it's being described as the divine masculine or as the karmic. Or likewise, if you are divine masculine, you might hear yourself described in divine feminine energy or the karmic energy. What I would look at is, what are you resonating with in each reading or each channeling? And then if it bothers you, like if you feel like you are divine feminine but you feel like you're resonating with the divine masculine energy, then go in and look at, have you worked on your wounds of masculinity? Have you worked on your father wounds? Have you worked on traumas that are based around your interactions with masculine energies? And likewise, if you feel like you're divine masculine and you're resonating with divine feminine energies. And if you're resonating with the karmic side of things, then go in and look at that. You probably are exhibiting karmic traits for that moment or for that period. And that's why Spirit made sure you got lined up with those particular readings. Well, I'm going to end this here. Let me know if you have any specific questions. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next video.